Hello and welcome to Art Alive. You've probably heard it. Earlier this week, Assemble and the Granby Four Streets Project won the prestigious Turner Prize. The award, that represents all media, has often been criticised, with the public often asking, is this art? And this year the judges have kept the same principle in awarding the prize to an architects collective and hence endorsing traditions of artistic and collective initiatives that experiment in art, design and architecture. Here in Granby Four Streets, we talk to the residents and members of the project about their recent award.
Unbelievable to see our paintings on national television. I think that was the main thing personally. Also really glad for the entire local community. This is the result of many years, very hard work by lots of people.
It's amazing, it really is. It's an amazing thing to say. I was part of a very small aspect of that, but Assemble won the Turner Prize. Myself as a member of Granby Workshop, hopefully that will shine some attention on the Granby Workshop. That's more of how I'm thinking about it. It's a prestigious thing, it's an amazing thing. As an artist, I know about the Turner Prize, but to me, my name's not going to it. It's Assemble. They've done it, and it's the fact that their energy is going to come back into Granby Workshop. Having won that's the greatest thing out of it.
It's surreal. We've just entered a new land now. We've entered a land that we've never explored before, a land where we are internationally famous, and who knows, we may have changed the shape of art. We've certainly changed the shape of how you regenerate streets of empty houses.
It's going to bring attention, to the community, to the area, and hopefully the area will finally be able to be developed. And I think it also is a good thing as well, because it's making people think, because we're using discarded objects and materials and reusing them, and then making them into something special and useful, and they do look beautiful at the end of it.
It's amazing, obviously, because the prize is such, a prestigious prize, but at the same time it's a bit surreal, because we were just doing what we wanted to do, what we believed in, and for a very long time this kind of practice wasn't really recognised as a legit practice, and to have the Turner Prize means that what we do, I guess in many ways it legitimises what we do, but as I was saying, it's very surreal because it's just what we do, and to have the Turner Prize is just a bonus.
Well, obviously ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic, but like a lot of people were saying, it is an absolutely wonderful privilege to be part of it all, but it's their journey as much as our journey, as much as Granby Community Land Trust's journey, as much as the community's journey.
I think first of all it means joy, happiness, and smiles all around, and people just being generally happy all the time, which is great. On a wider scale, I think it's something where the youngsters can now go on the internet, Google Toxteth, and not see rubbish from the past, because this will shoot to the top of the Google search, which is a great thing. That's a very simple thing, but I think that's a really important thing, that there's lots of news, lots of positive news coming out of the area, which means hopefully the area will start to get a bit more investment, a bit more change, more just more life back into it like it used to be.
Regenerating the area also means embracing local art. On Ducey Street, local artists have reclaimed the public space.
We started it when Teresa asked me to do some artwork for the market, and I asked Peter to come along because I thought we'll just, do some of the houses, because Teresa said just get it going. I said I'd rather start with a design, and she said no, just do it. So in June I started with this sort of spirit woman, and Peter started with the houses. Then some kids painted, and we painted, they painted but their names and stuff, but it looked like graffiti. Yeah. So we just made a sort of instant decision. It was going to be art and no words. It was going to be the universal language of art, and we were going to take curatorial decisions about the quality of the art. And so very, very quickly I painted over the kids' writing which meant that Peter and me started it. The first 3 or 4 houses grew very, very quickly. And as soon as the first few houses had been done, we suddenly got the vision of painting the entire street.
So how did you get inspired to paint these figures?
Okay, right. With the figures, I asked a few people on the market what they wanted to see. Right, and they said people having a meal and people dancing were the first suggestions. So that was half of it, and I had built up in me like a desire to paint symbolic figures with a very, very clear message, which is get out of your boxes, come together, do something positive, lift your spirits and lighten up. Yeah? And so I had that message that I'd wanted to paint for a while. So it was like a kind of combination between what I wanted to do, what people wanted to do, and also the pure thing of art.
Which is from National Geographical magazine, of this Peking opera singer dating back in '63, the National Geographical magazine, and she was on the front. He was on the front because I realised someone said that it was the male took on the role of the female in the Peking opera, then in the '60s, and I thought, wow, it's a beautiful sort of pose, and this one here, which they say is the goddess, is a little bit of that, but I don't know that there's a little bit multi sort of ethnicness about it, you see, which I wanted to show. There's the glitter on it, isn't it? And that about life, about all that glitters is not gold, really. But look at beauty, look at aestheticness. And she's coming out and she's doing a dance, isn't she? Her legs are going. I suppose it's a dance of life, and the dance of happiness and life, and appreciating beauty and life and dance. And then the floor is like a different sort of aspect of it, really. It's to draw you in to it, to the paint, and a kind of vortex, and you see the colours in the vortex in the front there, and that's about nature, of course, as most of these are about nature. Personally, I think it's great for the whole of the community here, because over time, run down, hasn't it? Over time, the riots '81, and it was neglected to pull down all these houses here, move the people, and then now, it's come into another sort of epoch time now, a time which is it's changing this community, which is great. It's uplifting this community, the spirit, the people are happy about it, and people are getting trained, some local people, with the skills, the arts and the crafts and the architecture, and how to recycle and rebuild these houses, people what they can afford, which is great, to bring back life in this community, isn't it? Bring back a whole sort of concept of yes, we've done something fantastic. So this is so great. And for the Assemble, and for us, a bit of, and Joe Farge and everyone who took part, I think it's great for. And it's good for the future.
As part of the project, Assemble has also set up a workshop, establishing training and employment for local people, developing skills, and growing a do-it-yourself approach.
This is the old newsagents. This is the Granby workshop now, as we've taken it over. So it was an empty space for about 25 years. And what's happened is we've come into it and we've reclaimed it as our own. And right now there's no electricity in the building, but we've kind of started to assemble this workshop, so to speak, and this is where we make all of the products that you can see on our website and you can buy. So I got involved because I'm an artist from the local area, and I usually do drawings and things, and it was just a great opportunity, one, to do something in a local area that I kind of know really well, and two, to use some of my art practice to kind of do something really exciting and do something local and do something handmade that can be out there for people to use.
Basically, it was one of those things that happens a lot in Liverpool in terms of artist networks. There was a call out for creative people who wanted to help in the local community. And because I've got a history, let's say, with the place, and I had seen it change and develop over 20 years since I first came here and moved into Granby Street, I wanted to be part of it. And personally, it was at the right time. For many, many reasons. So as a creative person myself, I wanted to get involved and see what I could do in terms of helping the community that already have been here to get the ball rolling, so to speak. Initially, I was brought on board to do the printmaking. So to first of all do a feasibility of how to set it up. So we set it up here in this disused newsagents. So we set up the printing workshop and printed along with other collective artists, Samoya, Sophia, and actual fact Fran and Alice, as part of Assemble, they actually printed here as well. So it was a collaborative effort doing the printmaking, yeah.
Social enterprise, the workshop enables participants to create handmade products that can also be purchased online. Pressed terracotta, marbled materials, or cut-out tiles, each product is unique and made in Granby. Time for a short break now. Stay with us on Art Alive. We'll find out more about the Granby workshop and the reactions to the Turner Prize Award. Welcome back to Art Alive. This week we celebrate the success of Granby Four Streets for their collaboration with Assemble, who won the Turner Prize 2015. Working with local residents, the collective has engaged the community in creating a workshop that enables anyone to develop their skills.
I decided to take part in the Granby Street Project because my interest has always been around making and using craft and design and the arts in general to bring a community together so that we can share and learn skills with each other. So that's why I decided to take part in the workshop, but at the same time my practice is very heavy on textiles, so it was just putting two and two together really, because I was already making textiles products and the Granby workshop shares the same ethos as me, and also I'm from Toxteth, so it's just all these kind of points just adding up together, and it just felt as if it made sense for me to join. At the Granby workshop I make the soft furnishings samples that can show people what the fabrics that we sell can be turned into. So for example, I made the sling for the chair that we had in the exhibition, and that just shows how, you know, one of the many potentials that fabrics can be turned into. Other samples include cushions, blankets, curtains, as well as kitchen-based stuff such as oven gloves, which are always useful and look pretty as well.
I use a paper called decal, and what I do is, it's so easy, the processes I think is one of the easiest processes. All I needed was a bucket of water, which had to be warm, and 2 cloths, that is it, and the actual tile and the decal. And all I did was, first I'd arrange my tiles, then I'd tear the decal or cut it or whatever, place them on the tiles. Then when I got the composition that I was comfortable with and I thought would work best, then I would dip the decal into the water and it would peel, and I'll transfer it onto the tile, and I'd use the cloth to get rid of the excess water and to get rid of any bumps, because the tile had to be bump free, otherwise when it went into the oven it'd have, you know, it'd be like, it'd be horrible, you know. It'd have bubbles and the bubbles would burst. it gave me the opportunity to use the skills that I've gained, you know, as being an artist, and it gave me the opportunity to develop these skills and also give back to the community in a way.
The members of the Granby Four Streets Project did not expect to receive such an award as the Turner Prize. But years after years, the judges have surprised the public in rewarding new artistic creations and challenged it by asking us to redefine our conception of art.
I'd say art is objective. Art can be anything, and I think one of the key things, and Hazel said it really well, is it's for the people. It's about humanity. That's what this is. This is by people, this is for people. It's local products, it's things that are being used, it's everyday objects. And I think it's fine for someone to say, you know, this isn't art, it shouldn't win. But there's a lot of people who think it is art, and it's the beauty of it. You can be right or wrong, it doesn't really matter. The fact is we're doing something amazing.
I think it is contemporary art because it's being done now. It's being done by the people, for the people, in the people's houses. This is real art. You can pick up, get hold of, you can buy it, have it in your house. The fireplaces are in the houses that Community Land Trust are doing, and lots of other things like the tiles and the doorknobs. It's real art you can touch. It's not something to be locked away in a rich man's warehouse. This is as contemporary as you get. I think this brings art out of its rarefied atmosphere. And okay, if it brings it into somewhere that people have opinions about and have disagreements and discussions about, well, that is good, isn't it? Because that means art once again becomes something that gets in the way, that, you know, that interferes with life, and I think that's all to the good. We all produce art. We didn't know we were producing art in Granby by painting the empty houses, by guerrilla gardening the streets, but we have. So I think art is something that you reflect on afterwards and say, oh, that was art. Very few of us are able to stand up and say, I'm an artist, I make my living out of this. We make our art by what we actually do together.
I think art is always going to have that traditional aspect of being, you know, pictures that hang on a wall and can be incredibly expensive to buy and is not for everyone. I think the great thing about this is art can also be a community project. It can be about people, it can be about stories, and hopefully the art world will start to accept that a little bit more. But if it doesn't, that doesn't really matter, because it's still going to happen. Communities are still going to kind of use art as a tool for change, and I think no matter what, the attention that Turner Prize brings, the attention it doesn't bring, the controversy it brings, we're still going to do that. We're still going to be making in the community.
For me, architecture is the mother of all art because, you know, well, architecture is the built environment. It's our houses, it's our office, it's our schools and our shopping malls and whatnot. So no matter what we do, we're always surrounded by architecture, and architecture is a very, you know, it's, as I was saying, it's the mother of all art because it determines how you behave in a space and how you interact with other people in that space. So the fact that an architecture project won the Turner Prize just shows how amazing our built environment can be.
Beyond the artistic approach, Granby Four Streets raises the issue of regeneration. And a question that comes back quite often is the one of fundings.
As all of the public housing money has stopped, we have had some public housing money in here. Some of the empty homes money from a special initiative that's come in mainly through two of the housing associations who are involved here, Plus Dane and Liverpool Mutual Homes. That might not come again, that might be a one-off. The rest of the money has come from social investors like Steinbeck Studios who've invested in us £500,000. From foundations like the Nationwide Foundation and Power to Change, both of whom have given us grants to do the rest. And so it's been a combination in a funny way, which isn't funny at all. I don't think we could have done this at all as a community land trust, potentially, if there'd still been lots of public money around. We have managed to get in because we were the only idea left, that we break this whole area up into small pieces and have no one developer dominating the whole thing and create room for us to do what we've done. Absolutely important. What's happened here is a healing of years of neglect, of years of racial discrimination. And so what we're seeing now is the beginning of starting to heal that. It's taken a long time, it's taken too long, but grace, you know. let's move now. Let's make this work. Liverpool has always been the place where Liverpool's most multicultural community has lived and been welcomed, you know, and so great now. It's like fit to welcome you now. You know, these 4 streets are going to be home to the most vibrant community in Liverpool. Great, can't wait to see them move in.
Whole swathes of housing in this community which still need doing. Over the road, over the other side of Princess Road, there's all the Welsh streets and there's all the streets right up Hyde Park Street. I know there's changes happening there and they've been fighting for some time. There's places up in Anfield, there's places all over the city, and if this can spread in a sense, you know, people can learn from it and move on, and which they are doing, like, but if it can spread, it can change and bring some vibrancy to local communities again, brilliant. I think one has to help oneself to stuff. And we've found, as of a lot of people around the country now, but probably more so ourselves, that we have to start creating our own forms of employment, especially in the days of the big industrial sides have all gone now. So hopefully this can be the beginning of something bright, and people hopefully will start getting involved, doing different things, youngsters getting much more involved in the art side, the media side, because a lot of them have got the skills, but there's no outlets for them. So hopefully this will stimulate that.
When we started this, there were a lot of people said, come on, you know, those houses have had their lives, everything changes, it's time for renewal there now. Well, I think we've shown that 100-year-old houses, they haven't had their time, they've got plenty of time left in them, and with a bit of love and determination, then communities can get hold of them and turn things around.
That's all this week on Arts Alive. Join us next time. We'll look at Follow, FACT's new exhibition all about social media.